You were so close. Maybe it was the diet. 3 weeks in, you felt it working, clothes fitting differently, energy up. And then one bad day happened, one slice of cake, and somehow that turned into a week of eating everything in sight. Or maybe it was the business. You finally had momentum. People were responding. The idea was working. And then you just slowed down, started overthinking, found reasons why it wasn't the right time, or maybe it was someone you loved. Things were actually good, better than they'd been in years. And something in you started pulling away, creating distance, picking fights over nothing, different situations, same pattern. And here's what nobody tells you. This isn't a motivation problem. It's not discipline. It's not laziness. Because you had motivation. You were already moving. You were already close. What stopped you was something deeper, something that lives underneath every goal you've ever abandoned right before the finish line. Psychologists have a name for it. And once you understand what's actually happening in your brain when success gets within reach, you'll never look at your own behavior the same way again. Because the truth is uncomfortable. Part of you is afraid of what happens if you actually win. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Let's start with a question nobody asks. Why would anyone be afraid of success? It doesn't make logical sense. You want the thing. You're working toward the thing. So why would your own brain turn against you the moment it becomes real? The answer goes back further than you think. When you were young, and we're talking early, before you could even articulate it, your brain was building a map of what's safe, what's familiar, what survival looks like. And that map wasn't built from logic. It was built from experience, from the environment around you, from the people who raised you. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. For a lot of people, that map included a very specific lesson. Staying small is safe. Don't stand out. Don't want too much. Don't get too far ahead, because something always goes wrong when you do. Maybe nobody said that to you directly, but you felt it. Every time you got excited about something and it fell apart. Every time someone you trusted made you feel stupid for dreaming too big. Every time success in your family came with strings attached, with pressure, with conflict, with loss of belonging, your brain learned, and it learned fast. Psychologists call this the upper limit problem. Gay Hendricks described it in his book, The Big Leap. The idea is simple but devastating. Every person has an internal thermostat for how much good they're allowed to feel, how much success, how much love, how much happiness. And the moment you exceed that limit, your unconscious mind pulls you back down. Not because you're broken, but because your nervous system genuinely believes that staying within that limit is how you survive. So what does that look like in real life? You start winning, and suddenly you get sick. You meet someone incredible, and suddenly you become distant for no reason. Your business starts growing, and you make a decision that tanks it. You're 3 weeks into the best habit of your life, and one bad day becomes a complete collapse. This isn't coincidence. This is your internal thermostat doing exactly what it was programmed to do. But there's a second layer, and this one is harder to hear. Self-sabotage isn't just about fear of success. For many people, it's about identity. Think about how you see yourself right now. Be honest. Deep down, do you actually believe you're the kind of person who finishes things? Who builds something real? Who has a relationship that actually works? Because your brain doesn't just want comfort. It wants consistency. It wants your reality to match your self-concept. And if your self-concept says, people like me don't get to have this, then getting close to having it creates a kind of psychological tension that feels unbearable. The technical term is cognitive dissonance, but the experience of it feels like restlessness, like suddenly doubting everything, like the voice in your head getting louder right when things are going well. That voice isn't trying to protect your goals, it's trying to protect your identity. And then there's the third mechanism, the one nobody talks about, fear of what changes when you succeed. Success isn't just a destination, it's a transformation. And transformation means loss, even when everything you're gaining is good. If you finally get fit, you lose the version of yourself that used comfort food as comfort. If you build the business, you lose the dream of the business. And dreams are safer than reality, because reality can actually fail. If you let someone fully love you, you lose the walls that kept you from ever being hurt that badly again. Part of you knows this, and part of you would rather stay close to the dream than risk losing it by actually reaching for it. This is why the sabotage happens at the finish line, not at the start, not in the middle, right when it becomes real enough to lose. So what do you actually do with this? Because understanding the pattern is one thing. Breaking it is something else entirely. And here's what most self-help content gets wrong. They tell you to push harder, to build more discipline, to find more motivation, as if the problem is that you're not trying enough, but you were trying. That's the whole point. You were already close. The answer isn't more force, it's awareness, specifically learning to recognize the moment your upper limit kicks in, because it always announces itself. You just haven't been listening. It shows up as sudden doubt when things are going well, as the urge to start a fight for no reason, as getting sick right before something important, as the overwhelming need to check out, slow down, or blow everything up, exactly when momentum is highest. The moment you feel that specific flavor of irrational resistance when you're close to something good, that's not a sign to stop. That's the signal that you're exactly where you need to be. The second thing is this: you need to expand your identity before you expand your results. Most people try to change their behavior first, but behavior follows belief. And if you don't actually believe, somewhere underneath all the motivation and the vision boards and the affirmations, that you are the kind of person who gets to have this, you will find a way to give it back. So ask yourself the harder question. Not what do I need to do, but who do I need to become to keep this? Because the goal isn't just to get there. The goal is to become someone who can stay there. And the last thing, maybe the most important, be suspicious of yourself when things are going well. Not paranoid, not anxious, just aware. When life starts moving in the right direction, when the momentum builds, when the finish line comes into view, that's exactly when your unconscious will make its move. It will offer you a perfectly reasonable excuse to slow down, a completely logical reason to wait, a very convincing argument that now isn't quite the right time, and you'll almost believe it because it will feel true. It always does, but you'll know something now that you didn't know before. That feeling, that pull toward the exit right when you're winning, it's not intuition, it's not wisdom, it's a pattern, an old program running on outdated data, trying to keep you safe from a danger that no longer exists. You don't have to obey it. Most people never figure this out. They spend their whole lives getting close and walking away. getting close, and walking away, never understanding why. You're not most people, and now you know why.